on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the go with the sickness. This is a war. This is a war.
This is a war that we living through, never reveal to you that they also leaving killing you. They don't tell you what the hell you agreeing to. She been hurting you, don't know who leading you. Keep on proceeding to follow, your mind is so hollow. Are you being coddled by government swallowing up everything that the media tell you without a question or a problem? All of the sheep being slaughtered, they poison the water, removing the father. Ain't trusting these daughters, ignoring blue collar, keep printing the dollar. Brainwashing your sons and your daughters, ain't got any honor if I'm being honest. I just ain't picking this side, but I'm gonna ride for my freedom and die for my freedom and question the government lies. A lot on my mind, it's so little time. Gotta think all of us needing a sign. The devil he hides, an ego and pride. They sell, they paying the price. God won't give you more than you can handle. Government should be dismantled. Every politician got a scandal. Prepare for the war, we going to battle.
This is a war.
Get your messages, and I got about 250 as of lunch today.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this quick because I got to get
no worries.
moving on this. We're pulling these passports. We're going to get back to normal. And, I can't give you the exact date, but it's going to be very soon.
Okay.
Okay?
No.
I'm going to be speaking over the next few days. Friday, I'm going to put out a statement. Monday, I'll be giving some dates. And we're going to move forward.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye.
Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and indeed the Founding Fathers. They all have something in common. They all used everything at their disposal to throw off the chains of oppression. Our Founding Fathers were forced into a revolutionary war, but Gandhi and Nelson Mandela chose a different path. Nelson Mandela and Gandhi both together were oppressed. They were oppressed by an unjust and evil system that indeed took away and stripped them of their human and civil rights. They chose peace. Martin Luther King chose peace 150 years after America's founding, and he chose to demonstrate peacefully. MLK, Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, they will be enshrined in your history books as peaceful revolutionaries who stood up against a system of tyranny and oppression and destroyed it. They destroyed that system and they destroyed that oppression by uniting around shared principles. I mention our Founding Fathers because our Founding Fathers did the same thing. They declared with one voice that there is going to be a list of principles that define what it means to be a man, what it means to be a free man, a free woman, a free person in society, and we would fight for those principles. In our Revolutionary War, and then in the culmination of the Civil War in America, the dream of our Founding Fathers were crystallized and made true. The promises were made right in our founding, and indeed, men walked in America free. Women walked in America free. And we had equality under the law. The human rights and the civil rights were indeed respected. And ladies and gentlemen, it is with, I think, a thunderous and happy tone that we should consider the Freedom Convoy in Canada to be taking up the mantle of those incredible titans of revolution in the history of mankind. Revolution for good, not for evil. The French Revolution and the Russian Bolshevik Revolution were revolutions for evil, revolutions by the tyrants and the powerful for more power, more chaos. Indeed, this is not that. We will see the Canadian truckers in this convoy minted in our history books with the likes of Gandhi, with the likes of MLK, and with the likes of Nelson Mandela. People who were oppressed by a tyrannical system, a hostile system to civil rights and to human decency. These truckers have now broken the backs of the most powerful in the nation of Canada. Indeed, as we just played you there, a recording from Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, where Ottawa is located, saying, in effect, the truckers have won. That's right, saying that the truckers have been successful in their mission. What we heard in that recording is that peaceful protest has broken the backs of the fascists in Ontario, Canada's most populous province, and indeed the province that is seeing the Freedom Convoy at its gates and inside its city walls. Let's recap what we heard there in that leaked secret audio from the most powerful man in the most powerful province of Canada. Now, let me remind you, Justin Trudeau is not the most powerful man in this province. It is Doug Ford. He is the premier. It is like a governor. So I am in the state of Florida. The federal government can't come in with guns and say you have to mask, your kids, or you have to shut down. They don't have the power. They don't have the authority. Ron DeSantis does. Ron DeSantis is my governor. And so Ron DeSantis, much like Doug Ford, can say what is going to be the rules inside of his province because he was elected by those people. You see, Alberta and Saskatchewan and Quebec have already begun to rip down their mandates and eliminate their vaccine passport systems. Now, one of the most powerful and largest in Canada, Doug Ford's Ontario province, is going to do the same. Now, they've been a major holdout, and so that is why this comes as an incredible piece of news and information. Let's go ahead and recap what we heard Doug Ford say there. He said, "We are going to start pulling these passports. We're going to get back to normal. I can't get you the exact date, but it's going to be very soon." Now, when he says passports, he doesn't mean citizenship, which is what the left would squeal about right now, because the left have gone full fascist. They always have been fascist. And we are going to detail exactly how the fascists of the world have always come from the political left. Do not let them tell you that they're of the political right. They are of the political left, always and forever. No, he says, we're going to pull the passports. What that means is we're going to be pulling the vaccine passports. We know they're unpopular. We know they're evil, and we're going to stop it. I'll be speaking over the next few days. Friday, I'm going to put out a statement. Monday, I'm going to give some dates, and we're going to move forward. We're going to go back to normal. They've won. The Freedom Convoy has won. Hold the line. Keep the faith. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our hour. The dramatic about-face from Ford comes as thousands of truckers across Canada have engaged in peaceful protests, much like MLK, Gandhi, or Nelson Mandela, including blocking the Ambassador's Bridge between Detroit and Windsor. Doug Ford is an embattled Ontario premier, and he telephoned his supporters, letting them know that on Friday he is going to abandon the vaccine passport scheme, and he's going to provide more details soon. I'm reading to you from, by the way, Rebel News, our dear friends at Rebel News, who have been absolutely essential in the telling of this story and the accuracy of this story. It is amazing to watch corporate media slander these good and principled patriots, these truckers. God bless them. It makes me emotional. A real worker uprising, because we, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, have always stood for workers. We've always stood for the populace. We've always stood for people who wish for freedom. It is the left, the fascist left, who stands for one thing and one thing alone: power. They are no longer liberal, ladies and gentlemen. A liberal would say, I want human rights. I want workers' rights. I love a workers' uprising. I believe in bodily autonomy. My body, my choice, you see. No. A liberal would say, I want to hear your opinion, Joe Rogan. I want to hear your opinion, Tucker Carlson. I disagree with your opinion, and I will die for your right to say it. That's what a liberal would say. If you have an actual liberal in your family at Thanksgiving dinner, they would listen to you with your MAGA hat on, and they would say, how interesting. I disagree with you on this point and this point, but I'm so interested in your freedom and your right to have this opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, does that sound like the modern day left? No. The modern day left is like the fringe, cretinous, goblin-like Justin Trudeau, who is slandering, maligning, and limiting the human rights of these truckers. And now he's losing. We have won. Hold the line. Push back. This is the collapse of an entire system. We don't have enough time in this live to go into it, but ladies and gentlemen, let's just say Canada was the experimentation ground for the Global Economic Forum. Canada was experimentation number one, a fully infiltrated and subverted nation, westernized and supposedly free. And they were going to do what a new world order was going to tell them to do. They were going to behave the way they were going to be told to behave by an elitist group of leftists who wish to shove down their throats their new ideology. Shut up and take your basic, universal basic income, you right-winger. We're in control now. And now their control is crumbling. The full weight of what is happening right now in Canada cannot be put into words. It's hard to explain the value of this freedom movement. When real workers stood up and said, I'm sorry, you think that hedge funds and credit card companies control our society? You think that a bunch of people with private jets and yachts who fly into Davos once a year, and then your little Young Leaders program, which Justin Trudeau was a part of and his entire cabinet is a part of, you can find the footage of Klaus Schwab explaining how infiltrated the Canadian system has been with the new egalitarian financial elite, a cult. They thought they had won. And the downfall of every tyrant is assuming they'd won and recognizing in one painful moment, it happened with Julius Caesar, it happened with Nero, it happened with Ceausescu in Yugoslavia, a Soviet commissar who was famously barking orders at the men who were taking him outside to meet his just court sentencing. Let's just say they don't understand that they do not have the will of the people. Tyranny doesn't win when free men and free women can come together. And now, the largest and perhaps last holdout in Canada is going to be removing vaccine mandates and passports as a key demand of the truckers. Public opinion has shifted dramatically in the past 2 weeks. Most Canadians now say end the lockdowns. They can't give up Canada, and they will fight, ladies and gentlemen, tooth and nail. The tyranny will get more oppressive. They will probably bring in the military. They will be bringing in police. You have seen the police stealing firewood, stealing food, stealing fuel, and it's only increased the resolve. They tried these tactics with Gandhi. They tried these tactics with Nelson Mandela. They tried to starve them out, humiliate them, slander them. They did this with MLK. The organs of the state, the CIA and the FBI, were vicious against MLK in their attacks on him and their surveillance of him. The peaceful protesters who have the right on their side win in the end. And these truckers will be seen in the long arc of history as on the side of the righteous. They will be seen as on the right side of history. And you, ladies and gentlemen, if you give to their GiveSendGo If you help them, if you support them by sharing this video, by liking our page, if you should support them by sharing this podcast, even if you cannot afford to donate personally, if you support them by sharing their message around the world, and we'll get to that because this is going worldwide. The worker uprising that they've been wanting, the human rights protest is what this is. It is a protest for human rights, and it's what we must always call it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going worldwide, and we're about to get there. If you cannot donate to the GiveSendGo, well then thank you for sharing this video. If you did donate to the GiveSendGo, we have some wonderful news for you. One, a report from this morning. I have it right before me. GiveSendGo has over $8.6 million in its bank account right now. We will share a link on this video to where you can donate if you would wish to. We will share a link on our video in the description as to how you can donate to the truckers. It's your money, and it's your right to support freedom around the world. $8.6 million. That's more than was in the Gofundme when Gofundme shut them down like the communist bootlickers that Gofundme is. Never donate another dollar using Gofundme, please. My blood boiled. I finally lost it. I try to remain happy on this program. We try to give you good news, but last week I shared on Twitter and I shared on my social platforms how I had been broken by GoFundMe. I had been finally lost in my patience. My blood boiled as I watched $8 million get seized by these communists who supported Chaz, who supported CHOP, who supported BLM, and gave them money as they rampaged and burned and murdered in my country. And now they froze the funds of the truckers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have some very, very good news. Those funds, because of you and because of you and your viewership, those funds were refunded because of our outrage. They were automatically refunded. They were not redistributed, as the communists so often like to do, redistribute your resources and money. No, ladies and gentlemen, those funds were refunded, and the people took them, and then they upped their donation. $8,753,994. In fact, the money has increased. That number, as of this very second, is the number the Freedom Convoy 2022 has raised on GiveSendGo, the Christian fundraising site. But that didn't stop the fascistic, the fascists, ladies and gentlemen, you must understand. They only want one thing, and they only understand one thing: total and complete control of your life. The fascists last night said that they were going to freeze that money. In fact, in Ontario, that same premier who has admitted defeat is saying a different thing in public. You see, Doug Ford said in his statement last night that the Attorney General brought an application in the Superior Court of Justice to prohibit any person from disposing of or otherwise dealing with, in any manner whatsoever, any and all monetary donations made through the Freedom Convoy 2022, to adopt a trucker campaign pages on GiveSendGo, the online fundraising platform, saying that he has made it illegal and that they are going to freeze the funds on GiveSendGo. One little problem, ladies and gentlemen. You see, GiveSendGo told Doug Ford and his fascistic little pet, Justin Trudeau, that they can go F themselves. They can give themselves the finger, and they can do a full send directly off their property. They don't own GiveSendGo, and the truckers are getting the money. Go ahead and check out this clip from Fox News detailing the beautiful and wondrous scene at GiveSendGo. Love this site.
The government of Ontario, Canada, winning a court order to block funds donated to the Freedom Convoy on the GiveSendGo fundraising platform. It comes after Gofundme also froze donations to the anti-mandate truckers, citing reports of violence at their protests. Ottawa's police chief says he expects police reinforcements in 2 days to end what he calls an unsafe and unlawful demonstration. Alexis McAdams is live in Ottawa with the latest. I know that you've only been there for a few short hours. What have you seen so far?
Hi, Daniel. I have to tell you, the atmosphere here is pretty friendly. It's almost like you're at a tailgate. People are offering food and drink, and really they want to talk about their message. And they're telling me after 2 weeks in here in Ottawa, Canada for this protest, they're not going anywhere until they get their freedom back. They tell me this is not about being anti-vaccine. It's about being on the right side of this battle against what they say are some major things that needs to change here.
Well. GiveSendGo. They had a exciting response. You see, unlike the collusion of the Stalinists, the fascistic corporate collusion of the cockroaches at Gofundme, never, ever use Gofundme ever again. Stop and cease and desist using that platform. GiveSendGo, a Christian company, said, again, you can go ahead and go F yourself. Canada has absolutely zero jurisdiction over how we manage our funds here at GiveSendGo, a spokesperson for the company told Fox News Digital. All funds for every campaign on GiveSendGo flow directly to the recipients of those campaigns, and not the least of which is the Freedom Convoy campaign. So we will not be shutting down. We will not be complying. You and your little diktats and your little orders have no power here. You can do nothing. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love it. I love it. The final blow. We'll steal your finances. We'll take your money. Oh, you see, you can't do that. We don't do that around here. And GiveSendGo put on their Crusader uniform and put on that beautiful silver mask, the medieval Crusaders uniform, and they clutched their crosses, their Christian crosses, and they said, come and take it. You want this money? This $8.7 million? What's the number up to, guys? What is it up to? What is the official number right now? It keeps growing so quickly, it's hard to keep up. The team is telling me the exact number at this very second. I'm going to keep you abreast this entire podcast of what the number is. We'll watch it in real time. This on your screen is an old screenshot. I bet it's gained $100,000. $8,708,000. $8,708,000. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it looks like to break the wheel. This is what it looks like to break the system. When they scream and when they order you to stop, to cease, and desist, ladies and gentlemen, you need to merely ask this question. By what authority? Where's the law? What rules do you have over us? And they'll have to start making them up. And then you'll realize who the fascist is. Tucker Carlson says with regularity on his program right now, scratch a liberal and you will find a fascist. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we are seeing. And they are collapsing. It is the final stand. Canada was the last crown jewel left for this wicked and should quite frankly be disbanded global economic forum scheme to subvert and to place leaders around the world who bow and kiss the ring of global finance and the establishment. They're done. They're losing Canada. They forgot we had an army, and that army was made of 18-wheelers. And I'll say this. Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, that's right, my team. I knew you were wrong. ALX, how dare you? How dare you? ALX apologizes. Producer ALX apologizes. He had to refresh. 8,789,875 is the amount for GoFundMe. Right now, I'm sorry, for GiveSendGo. Right now, on the Trucker Freedom Convoy. Almost 1 million more than was raised on GiveSendGo. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Karl Marx says, workers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. Well, well, well. It seems like perhaps Karl Marx, for the only time in his entire life, was correct. The workers of the world are uniting, and the chains are breaking. And it is wonderful to see. We are supporting them. They have won. We have won. It's like the scene in The Patriot. I'm not, by the way, I don't want this to be clipped and used out of context. I'm not saying Karl Marx was right about anything. I'm saying that it's a beautiful thing to use their tactics against them. You see, the left thought they owned the working class. The left thought that they owned the workers. In fact, the left has merely become the fringe class of lazy, slovenly, disgusting, liberal arts, lesbian dance theory majors with Cheeto dust on their fingers, sitting inside their studio apartments, surrounded by their only friends who are feline, tweeting all day with those Cheeto-stained thumbs on their Obama phones, shoving that Cheeto dust into the crevices of their phones, crying and using hashtags and thinking that they've done something with their life. They've done nothing. These truckers are the ones who move goods and services. The truckers are the ones who move mountains and who supply our nations with what they need to survive. Fuel, food. Do you have those things? Thank a trucker. Do you have medical supplies at your hospital? Thank a trucker. Do you have furniture in your home? Thank a trucker. Do you have electronics and goods to have your day go more smoothly? Perhaps an iPhone, perhaps a laptop. Guess how it was delivered? A trucker. Do you have the luxuries of Western trappings dripping in your home? I have a television. I have a fancy espresso machine in my kitchen. You can make a little Nespresso. Thank a trucker. Do you simply have fuel to bring you heat for your house when your children are cold? Thank a trucker. They brought the gas to those lines. And those truckers are on our side. The workers of the world, the plumbers, the mechanics, the people who check you out at Walmart, those people are on our side. Ladies and gentlemen, you can keep the lesbian dance theory majors. I will defend real workers, and I will encourage them to unite. I will encourage them to throw off their shackles, shackles that were put there by the leftists in charge, the Global World Economic Forum, colluding with their own leaders who have been put around the world to subvert our freedom, and they are collapsing. And that is why it is joyous to watch this movement expand globally. Rand Paul stands in support of the truckers and in support of the Freedom Convoy coming to America. Rand Paul, take it away. Clip 4.
Well, I'd also love to talk about this Freedom Convoy, the Canadian truckers who are protesting vaccine mandates for drivers who will be crossing the border. We just heard this morning that there's a potential that there will be such a convoy in Los Angeles about the Super Bowl, and perhaps one later in DC. What do you make of all this?
I'm all for it. Civil disobedience. Civil disobedience is a time-honored tradition in our country, from slavery to civil rights to you name it. Peaceful protest, clog things up, make people think about the mandates. And some of this we started. We put mandates on truckers coming across the border from Canada, so then they put mandates on, and the truckers are annoyed. They're riding in a cab by themselves, most of them, for 8-10-hour long hauls, and they just want to do what they want to do. It's their own business. And it's the way healthcare used to be. It used to be your own business, what you and your doctor talked about or what medications you took. It wasn't anybody else's business.
And do you foresee that DC would react in a certain way if such a convoy came here?
It'd be great, but the thing is it wouldn't shut the city down because the government workers haven't come to work in 2 years anyway. So I don't know if it'd affect DC. It'd be a nice change. We'd actually have some traffic.
Rand Paul is right. I'm all for it, he says. Civil disobedience is a time-honored tradition in our country. From slavery to civil rights, you name it. Peaceful protests clog things up and make people think about the mandates. Our first story, Doug Ford, is absolutely collapsing because of the trucker mandate. Canada is now going to rip the chains off of their people and their workers because of a peaceful protest. It makes people think. It's like the scene out of The Patriot when Mel Gibson watches the Revolutionary War soldiers retreating and he says, "No, we've won." Rand Paul's saying, "No, we've won." Grab that American flag in the dirt, brush the mud off it, and charge. And you will see the power of our movement. You will watch the largest and most powerful armies in the world retreat and surrender. I love that scene out of The Patriot. Man, that's such a good movie. Why doesn't Hollywood make movies like that anymore? Because they forgot who the real heroes are. The entire corporate media has turned on the truckers because they forgot who real heroes are. They don't stand up for the working class. They don't stand up for you. They don't know what freedom would be if it slapped them in the face. They only know power. They worship it like a golden calf, like Baal, like the false gods of old. No, no, no. We have something better to worship. We have something better. Freedom. And it comes from a true God, and it comes from true rights, true liberties, and true principles. Rand Paul gets it, man. Rand Paul should be the leader of the Senate. For some reason, Mitch McConnell is. They're both from Kentucky. Rand Paul should be the Republican leader of the Senate. God bless Rand Paul. Peaceful protests clog things up. Forgive me. They make people think about the mandates. It's a time-honored tradition in our country, from slavery to civil rights. Civil disobedience. Remember when BLM was rampaging through the streets and Chris Cuomo says, "Where is it written that protests must be peaceful?" Yeah. Where are those people now? Well, Chris Cuomo, he's fired. And so is his boss. And the entire rat's nest at CNN is going to be cleaned out because of comments like that. Rand Paul continues in this beautiful thing. At this time, we put COVID-19 mandates on truckers coming across the border from Canada. So when they put mandates on these truckers, they're annoyed. They're riding in a cab by themselves for most of the 8-10-hour long hauls. They just want to do what they want to do, and that's their own business. Damn it. Yes. Rand Paul. Yes. It's the scene out of The Patriot. Mel Gibson grabs that flag and says, "We are winning. Charge." Let's make it stick. Let's make them hurt. Let's make them never do this again. They'll think twice if there's pain. We are 100% for the American Freedom Convoy here in this country. I think we'll have some pretty exciting announcements on that front coming very soon. I may know a thing about a thing. So get ready, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up. You think we're going to let the Canadians have all the fun? You think we're going to sit here in the grand old United States of America with our baseball and our hot dogs with the Super Bowl coming up? You think we're going to let the Canadians have all the fun? No, no, no. The Canadians joined us on D-Day to fight fascism, and we shall join them once more in that fight. Mark my words. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not just in America, though. Ottawa protests have inspired free people around the world. The French are now taking up a convoy bound for Paris. Not sure if Paris is worse than Canada, but I can say, ladies and gentlemen, they're both a yoke of a tyrant upon both of their necks. They're bad. It's bad in France. It's bad in Canada. Trudeau and Emmanuel Macron are part of the same lot. A group driven by global left-wing financiers through the Davos Fund, through the Global World Economic Forum, pushing for a global government, wishing to collapse Christian and Western freedoms under the yoke of the leaders of a small cult who worship the tenets of far left-wing ideology. They are corrupt. And we are watching the workers of the world unite against them. Oh, God bless them. I want to play you guys some clips back to back of the French convoy and the cheers. France hasn't cheered for liberators this loudly in 70 years since the liberation of Paris. I want to play you some clips, a clip of the French convoy, a clip of the French convoy arriving in Lyon last night. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a thing of beauty. Listen to this. Oh, it is so beautiful. Isn't it remarkable that the globalist left, you don't call them liberal because they're not liberal, they're leftists, they're fascistic. Isn't it remarkable that when a protest can be weaponized or used for their political end, no matter how violent or murderous, like BLM Antifa protests, well, then they are allowed to go on unabated. But when the protests are used against them, well, it's an insurrection. It's a threat to everything that we've tried to control and create. Yeah. You people won't win. It'll be glorious to watch you collapse. I'm so inspired by this. I'm so pumped. I hope you are pumped too. We are winning on all fronts. Grab that beautiful, patriotic American flag. And the best part about The Patriot, Mel Gibson movie, man, that's a great movie, is he allies with the French. Remember, the French allied with America. Our first allies were the French against the English in the 1700s. And we must ally with the French once more. Let us help them fight for their freedom. According to the French news site France 24, a French version of Canada's Freedom Convoy hit the roads on Thursday. Hundreds of motorists headed to the capital. Most members oppose France's vaccine pass, but some have seen the protests as a continuation of the Yellow Vest movement that rocked the country before the pandemic. Galvanized by the occupation in Ottawa, motorists... Ha! It is a civil rights protest and a human rights protest, and that's what I will call it. Do not let them manipulate and turn language. This is a civil rights and human rights protest. Motorists in southern France are organizing what they call a convoy de liberté. Convoy de liberté. I love to say it. Rolls off the tongue. It means freedom convoy, and it's headed to Paris to demand an end to the country's health pass program. Departures from other French cities are expected to take place on Thursday. Parisian police are freaking the hell out. They want to bar the convoy from entering the city and prevent protesters from blocking the capital. In a press release, police headquarters stated that due to the risk of public disorder, they have prohibited such events from Friday, May 11th to Monday, May 14th. Social media outlets like Facebook have been buzzing with calls to join the French Freedom Convoy over the weekend, and some groups garnering up to 340,000 members in just days. Encrypted messaging groups like Telegram have brought together tens of thousands of supporters as well. They want to end the COVID-19 restrictions. That, according to the New York Times. Some protesters have called for the convoy to continue into the heart of the European Union institutions like Brussels after converging in Paris. Brussels police have also placed a ban on protests to prevent the arrival of the convoy. Ha! Isn't that a little something else? Isn't that something? Your rights to protest become privileges when it threatens their power. Nobody said we're going to limit Antifa and Black Lives Matter protests when they were burning city blocks to the ground. Nope. But now, when it threatens the institutional power of corporatist and global finance and the Muppets and sock puppet leaders that they have installed around the world, including but not limited to this country and in Canada and across Europe, bunch of Muppets, bunch of sock puppets, preening and bootlicking the shoe of global finance. Well, now your free speech is illegal. Now your right to gather is illegal. Do you remember when the doctors came together with a letter and said that there is no COVID spread during the BLM protests? Do you remember when they came together with a letter saying that there was no risk, no health risk during the BLM protests because the health risks of racism, that's right, racism, was more dangerous than the health risks of COVID-19. That's all you had to know, ladies and gentlemen. Your rights become privileges as soon as they threaten the ruling class elite and the infrastructures around them. The global institutions of health are fully and completely corrupted. They are simply a vector for power for the vicious fascists who wish to rule over you, and now they are collapsing. I continue to read. The mimicking of the Canadian movement in France has brought back memories of the Yellow Vest movement, a 2018 and 2019 grassroots movement that was ignited by a protest on rising fuel prices and evolved to include a more general anti-government grievances protest. It's been kept alive by some organizers of the French convoy, like activist Remy Maudet, who took part in the Yellow Vest protests and become one of the convoy's prominent voices. He opposed COVID-19 vaccines and uses Facebook to call on Yellow Vesters to swell the ranks of the convoy, imploring members to reclaim their freedom, and reclaim it we will. Because we are more than them, we are the majority. They are the extreme minority. They do not have the will of the people at their hand. They do not have the righteousness of history at their back. They do not have the right side of history on their side. They will collapse. We have shown you in this live, ladies and gentlemen, that, thank you very much, thousands and thousands of you watched. And many more thousands will listen to, that you are winning. That now is not the time for feeble men and women to give up. They will become more desperate. They will become more slanderous. The slurs are no longer working. The insurrection and racist monikers do not work here. You have run them into the ground. You've abused your power. And now we will take that power from you. It's very simple. And you see, in the most wonderful moments in human history, I think it was Hollywood flair at its best. The patriot. The time is now to grab that flag and to charge. To say, we are winning. We know that you may want to try and look strong, and indeed, it may look like an insurmountable battle, as the British Army was the largest standing army in the world at the time of the American Revolution. They had fancy little coats on. They had little gold medallions. They had horses and plumes. They had shiny weapons. But the British Army lacked the right to oppress. They lacked the fight that grows in a man's soul when tyrants rule over him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, cannot be put down. It is something that is intrinsic in all men. I am a Christian, and I know that it is put there by God. It is a special spark that is in man's soul. Christ came to liberate men in a spiritual sense and to inspire us to liberate ourselves in a physical and a political sense. So that is what we do on this channel. We support our truckers. We support free men and free women who were born free, remaining free. In this country, America, where I am now, broadcasting from the Birch Gold Studios inside of the bastion of freedom, Florida, and in Canada, and in France, and in Australia, and in New Zealand, and all across the civilized world. We long for a revolution in communist China. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. They have failed. Pick up the flag. Let's go. God bless you. Have yourself a beautiful and free weekend. We are winning. See ya.